Friends, greetings. I hope you are well. Let's get right into what's happening here. Sofi. So this is the situation that we have been leading up to. This is going to be super important, the most important week of the whole year, potentially probably the last 4 years in the market. This is like what we've been waiting for. This is go time. So this week, 17th, 18th, Jerome Powell should come out and say, hey, this is X what we're doing with rate cuts. We're going to cut them X this amount, and we're going to do one right here, and then we're going to do one right here, and then another one maybe right here in the next, within 4 to 6 months of me talking right here, which this is should jumpstart the market a little more and get it going. Now with that too, this is where it's very important. I'm such a heavy believer in people having people that they invest with, friends, someone just to bounce ideas off. That's why people click on YouTube videos. That's why you're here now, because you want to hear what other people are thinking, what they're doing, and we're not going to agree on everything. It's just not going to happen. But the situation is, this is, everyone has their own outlook on what they think is going to happen. So with these rate cuts, Sofi should have a pretty good week. Sofi will easily probably break into $8 here, at least when we do hear about this rate cut. Monday, Tuesday, potentially we could see a move up in it just with some FOMO, people not wanting. It's moving that way right now. It's moving that way. And we touched $8 around 2 weeks ago, and then we had sell off again. So we could potentially see an $8 price on Sofi even before we hear about an actual rate cut taking place. So that's probably very attainable at this point. If we do see a big enough rate cut that Jerome Powell says, hey, this first initial rate cut, it's going to be X, it's going to be a pretty decent one, and it's going to really push some numbers out here into the economy, and it's going to make the market jump here, we could see Sofi move into a high 8, middle ground in the 9s, or somewhere around $10. We've seen Sofi do this. Sofi is not bashful running hard when there's good news. We have seen this with Sofi before. Just a year or so ago, Sofi has done this. It's nothing new. So don't think just because Sofi is so beat down at the moment, we could not see a huge run. Now, honestly, I'm going to give my opinion of what I think is going to happen here more than likely. I think potentially if we don't see a big enough rate cut, but we still see a significant run in the market in the next few days after this rate cut, or even, just them saying there's going to be a rate cut, the market will run good. It will run good. But I still think there's going to be somewhat of a little bit of a crash towards around October. Somewhere in October, there's going to be a crash. And I believe that strictly on the fact that the market is it's unsettled about who is going to take this election. And either way, Kamala will do her part for the market and Trump will do his part for the market. But Sofi particularly will do better under and is looking right now for a Trump administration. And even the CEO of Sofi has said that. So that's not me promoting either of them. I'm just saying this is factual news. You can look it up. It's out there. But with that, I do suspect to see a huge pump here in Sofi, but I will also tell you this, I would be highly cautious. If you're not already in Sofi and you're buying in at Sofi, like let's say Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sofi's at like $8.50, $9.50, maybe touching that $10 mark, who knows how massive this runs here, would encourage you to be very careful buying that high, because as fast as Sofi can go up right now, having a very unstable market. And what do we know with rate cuts? Most of the time when there's rate cuts in the past, there's a drop off, and not to mention that the S&P 500 is at an all-time high, and everyone is calling for a market crash at this point. It doesn't mean it's terrible in the sense that it will be gone forever, but it will mean if you have so much in these, like is Sofi, you're buying in at very high rates right now, you're going to have a better position to buy in if we do see a market crash here, because Sofi will fall apart again and probably go back down to a $5 to $6 range until it's built back up here, going probably into January with a bull run into the next year. Could Sofi hit this $10 mark? Absolutely. I do believe Sofi could hit this $10 mark. I like I said, I don't think that's impossible whatsoever. We've seen Sofi do that in the past, where Sofi within a 4-day range has ran hard. We have seen that in the past. Just back in 2023, around June and July, SoFi ran really hard. It went all the way from a $6 mark, actually like a $5 mark, ran up to 6, 7, 8, played around a low 8, then went to right around a 9 middle, and then right under a $10 space there going into August, and then just did what it did, fell back down into this $6 to $7 range here, and that's where it's been here for a while. So long term, SoFi is going to be fine. SoFi's got, this isn't me making a video talking junk about SoFi. It's completely opposite. I'm in SoFi for the long run. I'm literally just trying to say, hey, SoFi is going to run here. It's going to run. It's going to run pretty hard here probably this week. This is going to be a really good week for SoFi. It should, if we do see rate cuts, which we're expecting to at this point. That's what we've been told. It's just more of a warning than not to say like, hey, SoFi is going to run probably so good this week. We're going to see SoFi run into $8. We're going to see SoFi run in maybe potentially $9 to $10. I would highly encourage you to be careful, because more than not, a lot of people, I bet, that have been bag holding SoFi for quite a while and that are so disgusted and so fed up with this stock and don't even care to be a part of it anymore, are going to sell out. And you're going to have a lot of sell off here when you see those numbers. And probably more than not, like I said before, I think a lot of people do suspect that there will be a market crash here somewhere in October. Will it be a recession? I don't know. Will it be just a general, hey, the market's falling apart again because of uncertainty of where things are? Potentially, probably, maybe. I would bet highly on that version. So I just tell you, just be careful how high you're buying into SoFi. Like 8 under, 8 middle, buy in 850. I wouldn't go any higher right now. I wouldn't go any higher. There's not a lot of meat left on the bone for what could happen if you're doing that. But play at your own risk, obviously. So friends, here's what I'll say. We are getting down to just the last minutes of where this market will shift. The market will be taking a shift here in the next few months. And obviously it has to do with these rate cuts. It has to do with the picking a new president, 100%. So with that, I do believe that whoever wins, it will shift the market. A Trump market, and there's no way for me to say this without sounding very biased, but a Trump market will be big. It will be very big. The tariff things, I don't think they're going to do as much damage as people think they're going to do, even to these AI companies, because a lot of these AI companies that depend on these chips are already so massive. But obviously, the one thing that I don't like that Trump is talking about too is putting tariffs on everything. I think, there should be on some things, should be on not some things not. A Kamala presidency, it will just be more of what we've seen probably with Biden. It will just be a slow moving train situation, and there will be really no hype or what could be with the market. It'll just keep moving along here. And defense contracts will continue to go ballistic. So with that, friends, I do want to wish all of you best of luck. This is going to be one of the biggest weeks we have seen in the market, and man, I don't expect a bull run into this market until potentially November, depending on who wins this presidency, in January. Don't expect a bull market until we get to in November, depending on who wins, and then January, depending on who takes the crown of being in charge the next 4 years. So just say that because this is going to be a situation where you really need to start putting things in place where you want to go into this next year with the market and where things are going. I think generally what we all want to do, if you listen to people on YouTube, I listen to people, take inspiration from people, whether it's me, other people. We're all just trying to help our families at the end of the day. We're trying to make a buck, a retirement, whatever. And it's so important that we all just stick together and help each other, because this market, man, it doesn't matter how good you are in the market. It is fierce. It is ruthless. And eventually it will win against you. You can have a really good year. You can have a lot of big wins, but there will be things that you put your money into that you say, this makes sense. Things happen, and then sometimes it doesn't make sense. So I just want to wish all of you the best of luck. We are coming into some very hot days in the market. Be careful where you are buying in this week. Essentially, if they do rate cuts this week, every stock is going to be running hot. I mean, stocks are going to be running hot this week. So be careful. I suggest you don't even buy stocks this week when we see these rate cuts be announced. Be very careful. Friends, I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.